Yeah, this is a story that we first told you about on Friday. You know about the King County prosecutor saying, I am not going to file charges against the Sound Transit bus driver who blew through a red light and hit a car, killing two people. Robert and Elizabeth Rada. They were in a car with their son. And as you know, the 911 call from that son, so absolutely heartbreaking.
Were you involved in the accident?
Yes, I'm the driver. We're in the bus, ran the red light, and I think my dad might be gone, and my mom is pretty bad shape, and a little bit too.
Okay, stay on the phone here with me, okay? Is he conscious? When you say he's gone, what does that mean?
He is not conscious. He is not conscious.
Are you guys able?
Any pulse?
Are you
no
guys
pulse
able
on
to
him.
get him? Is it a safe way to get him out of the car so we can start
No,
CPR?
he's pinned in there.
He's pinned in there.
He's not breathing, and they said no pulse.
Okay. How old is your dad, sir?
He's 77.
77.
Or so.
Okay.
Just about to have another birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to pass out.
The dad never got to that 77th birthday. But the Sound Transit bus driver, Alexander Kirkland, nobody knows why. He wasn't impaired. He wasn't on. There was no alcohol or drugs. But he kept accelerating after he hit this car and went for another 3/4 of a mile. The King County Prosecutor's Office, I talked to them on Friday, and they said they had no reason to believe that there was criminal intent. So there were no criminal charges. And as we were having that conversation, the attorney for the family of the couple that was killed reached out to us, and we wanted you to hear from him. So let me welcome to the show the attorney for the Rada family, Chris Davis, joins us here on KIRO Radio. Hey, Chris, thanks for coming on with us this afternoon.
Hi, Dori. Good to be here. Thanks.
You heard my interview with the prosecutor's office on Friday, it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, when did you find out that the bus driver for Sound Transit, Alexander Kirkland, would not be charged?
We were informed by the prosecutor about a week and a half before they released that information to the public.
Okay. And I, first of all, just would like to get the family's perspective on that decision.
Well, the Radas are disappointed, of course, because they looked at the possibility of criminal charges as one way to offer them closure in the case and to, provide an explanation or reason as far as why the bus driver did what he did.
And have you gotten an answer? Because it sounds like, he said that there was a mechanical failure. That was proven to not be true. He drove 3/4 of a mile after hitting the car that killed the Radas. Have you gotten any answers as to the bus driver's actions?
We've gotten some information. I haven't been able to take the sworn deposition of the bus driver yet. And I think you mentioned on Friday that the family does have a civil lawsuit pending.
Yeah.
The lawsuit is against the bus driver and his employer, First Transit. So I wanted to correct you on what you said Friday. You had mistakenly thought that the lawsuit was against Sound Transit. That's not true. Sound Transit contracted with Community Transit, which in turn contracted with First Transit, which is a private corporation out of the state of Ohio.
Okay, got it.
So my office has done some investigation into the case, and we do have some information that perhaps wasn't revealed on Friday in your interview with Mr. Larson. First of all, we know that when the bus driver went into the exit ramp, that the traffic light at the top of the overpass was clearly visible to him. And when he did that, it was clearly visible. It was clearly a red light. We know that the exit ramp initially goes into a down incline and then goes in an up incline for about 1,000 feet or so. So my investigation also revealed that the bus is equipped with what is known as a brake pedal retarder system, or accelerator pedal retarder system, which basically means that unless your foot is on the accelerator, the bus will begin to decelerate and slow down. So the passengers on the bus that I've talked to have consistently stated that when he started into the exit ramp and began to go uphill, that the bus pretty much maintained a constant speed of about 50 miles an hour or so.
Yeah, well, if it continued another 3/4 of a mile after hitting the Rada's car, and that was on an upslope, that 3/4 of a mile?
Correct.
Okay. So then it gets down to, Chris, why would the bus driver have done this? There was no impairment, right? There was no chemical or alcohol impairment, correct?
That's right. No evidence of that.
Okay. So why in the world would the bus driver have done that? And it sounds like the conclusion the prosecutor's office reached was that there may have just been confusion between the gas or the accelerator pedal and the brake pedal, which seems hard for me to imagine with a veteran driver, especially, as you say, if he kept accelerating after hitting your client's car.
Yeah, and let me just first by saying that I have enormous respect for the prosecutor's office.
As do I.
Mark Larson, and I respect their decision, and they're up against other, legal criteria that I'm not against. But let me just tell you that we know that he had to have had his foot on the accelerator pedal continuously through that exit ramp and through that intersection. So the speculation that he had some sort of confusion, there's actually a name for that. It's called pedal error. And that's actually a theory that has been advanced by the bus driver's civil attorneys. Well, I find no evidence of any of that. And in fact, had he just removed his foot from the accelerator pedal while he was in that exit ramp incline, the bus would have started to slow down.
Sure. Yeah. So, but to reach the level of criminal negligence, which is, as you said, is what the prosecutor has to consider when he's filing charges, there would have to be some ill intent, some criminal motive behind it, right?
Right, and Mark Larson spoke to this briefly on Friday. I mean, he talked about a conscious disregard for the safety of people. And so it doesn't actually have to be intentional, but there has to be some sort of conscious understanding of disregarding safety of persons and property. So, my argument has been in the civil case that we have some evidence of that because we know that he saw the red light at the top of the hill about 1,000 feet in advance. We know that he could have simply taken his foot off of the accelerator pedal, and the bus would have immediately started to decelerate.
So wait a second, the light was red at least 1,000 feet before he got to the intersection?
Right.
It hadn't just barely turned red when he
no.
blew through it?
No.
Wow.
The evidence is that when he pulled off and when he exited onto the ramp from Interstate 405, that the traffic light in front of him, which was at an incline on the top of the overpass, was clearly visible to him. And it was a red light. It was a constant red light. So he traveled more than 1,000 feet up that ramp before entering into the intersection.
Okay. And there was no impairment. Is there anything else wrong with this bus driver mentally that the investigation yielded?
Not as far as the state patrol has determined, but that's kind of where my investigation has been focused on. But I haven't been able to take the bus driver's deposition under oath, which basically is my chance to ask the bus driver questions to explain why he did, as far as what happened and why.
Yeah. Okay, so
we do know the bus driver also was born and raised in Russia. The Ukraine, I think, is where he came from. So I only have a history that goes back about 10 or 12 years on him. And we know that he had no prior experience driving a bus.
How long had he been driving?
Well, we know that he had been hired the summer before, so this would have been in the summer of 2014, and that he was trained. He finished training about September or October of 2014.
2012.
So 2012. 7 or 8 months.
You mean 2012, right?
I'm sorry, 2012. You're right.
Okay.
So we know that he was only on the job for about 7 or 8 months before this tragic.
Okay. Yeah, it is a horrible tragedy. All right. So the civil case proceeds, and the family is okay with the prosecutor not going after this guy criminally based on everything they've told you?
Well, I wouldn't say that they're okay. They're disappointed. They wanted to see criminal charges brought. I've explained to them, though, that there's different criteria that the prosecutor looks at, and, of course, there's a much higher burden of proof in a criminal proceeding than there is in a civil proceeding.
Okay, and is the driver still driving, Chris?
I have been informed by the supervisors at First Transit that he has been on leave since this incident.
Really? Paid leave?
I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
They have. I do know this story. They have not terminated him as of yet.
That is crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, Chris, well, keep me posted as the civil case proceeds, and I appreciate your perspective on all this.
You bet, Dori.
Thank you. Chris Davis, he's the attorney for the Rada family, and this is crazy to me. So here's what the King County prosecutor told me when he said that they had decided to not file charges. This is King County Deputy Prosecutor Mark Larson. Given those facts, what are the factors that led to no criminal charges against the driver?
Well, the first thing we do in any case like this, it's important, and the most pressing is to figure out whether there's some kind of impairments involved. If somebody's on drugs or alcohol, obviously that per force makes things a crime. And that was done. An expert was called to the scene, made a full examination, and there's no evidence that there was any impairment whatsoever. So we really get now looking at the other issue, which is, crashes happen on the freeway. They're fatal, they're tragic, and all of them involve some form of negligence when people have, made some error or some omission or done something that has caused an accident. So, our job in terms of pulling things out of the realm of civil negligence, really we need to find some form of aggravated negligence.
And I do have great respect for the prosecutor's office, and they said there was nothing there that rose to the level of criminal negligence. But, man, I'm trying to imagine a citizen blowing through a red light that was red 1,000 feet from the intersection, plowing into a car, killing a couple of people. Would we get the same treatment? Would we have no criminal charges for that? It's hard for me to imagine. All right, that there is your big lead this hour.